Hi everyone, it's Mr. Robinson here. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, I'm unbelievably excited right now because I've been waiting for 2 years to get prep time into the school and we finally got it. And for me, this is the thing that's going to make the biggest difference to you lot getting the grades you should get. Now, to start off with, I've spoken to Year 11s. They said for their maths exam last year, they spent 2 hours, only 2 hours, revising for their maths exam. That's their year 11 big exam that's going to give them their GCSEs, and still loads and loads of them passed. Now I'm thinking, what would happen if we managed to make it so every single week, all of you did 2.5 hours of revision per week, and you didn't have to do any work at home, and that's what prep time's all about. But the most important thing about prep time is you work really, really hard for that half-hour period after school. Now, luckily for you, for the first term, it's only going to be 20 minutes, so you can get used to it. So I'm going to start off with explaining the main way that you're going to revise. And this way is called look, cover, test. Now we've checked loads and loads of places and we know this is the best possible way that you can revise. Okay, so here's an example from geography. This is one of the really good prep sheets that we've got. Now every subject has done a prep sheet, which means you're going to have all the knowledge you need to know to do well in the exam. Now geography will give you this sheet and say, I only want you to revise tonight in 20 minutes this section. That means you don't have to look at all the other bits, you're just going to be tested on that one section. And I'm going to show you now the way that you'll revise it. Okay, so this is how you're going to do your revision. Now on the left is the information you need to learn, and on the right is the look, cover, test revision map. I'm going to start off with, you're going to use this map for maybe like the first 2-3 weeks, and after that you won't need it anymore, but it's going to be an easy way of you understanding. Now, before you do anything, step one is you've always just got to highlight the key information. I'm going to show you how to do that just with one little bit, so I'm only going to show you it with this top bit here. Right, lots of people just copy all that out, and I don't want you to copy all of it out because there's lots of words in there you don't need to copy. So for example, I'm just going to put the first section to do here, and you are going to only copy the key bits in. So for example, you might say sides of the valley are less steep. So you're not putting all that information, you're just putting in tiny bits of it. And then you're saying lateral, can't spell lateral but I don't care, erosion. And you're going to say that is sideways. So now I know that lateral erosion means sideways. And the third thing is, I now know the channel is wider plus smoother. So from looking at that, rather than copying out every single word that you're seeing up here, because actually copying out every word takes too long sometimes, doesn't actually help you, rather than copying out all this, you're instead going to pick out the key information over here. Right, so what I do now is I will, don't go away, I will cover this up, and I'll also cover that up. I'm going to see how much of it I can remember. So my first attempt at copying out, I know that I'm going to be talking about there being lateral erosion, and I know that means sideways, and I remember there being something about a channel being wider and smoother, but I think I can't remember the last bit. So I look at that now and I think, have I got it all? And I uncover the first bit and realise that I've missed out that there's also the sides of the valley are less steep. So in my next bit, I go back down to here, the bits I missed out to say sides of valley less steep. And this process of you constantly looking at this stuff and reviewing it and writing it down will mean that you're going to start remembering it. So now with my second attempt at copying it out, I'm now going to try and get all of the information again. So I know that it's lateral erosion, which means sideways. I also know that there is the channel which is wider and then it's smoother. So it's channel wider plus smoother. And then there was one final bit, and it was about valleys being less steep. Now I'll look back to the original and see how far I am away from it. Great, so I've got all the information in. I've done it after 2 attempts. So if you've only needed 2 attempts, you don't need to use the whole thing, right? So now I've learned that little bit of information. What I'll then do is I'll then try and learn the next group of stuff. And I'll try and learn this stuff. And once I've learned that stuff, I'll test myself on both. And by the end of the session, hopefully, I'll know everything. Now, one final thing to say about this is these sheets are not meant to be neat. They're not meant to be copied out and like kept for forever. They're just meant to be messy ways of trying to get all the information down in your head and trying to start remembering it. So the last thing you want to do is start underlining stuff, highlighting stuff, trying to make it too fancy. As you can see from my handwriting, obviously my handwriting's not very good there, but it doesn't matter. It's not about that. It's about the process of learning. So the last thing any of you should ever do is try and make it look neat. It's just about, have you learnt it?